Upstage Lung Cancer presents a Fireside Zoom talkback right after our virtual concert. It's called Looking Back, Moving Forward. This is a behind-the-scenes look at just how our organization comes together to create joy and inspiration through music to fight lung cancer and, of course, support early detection research. Recorded November 12th during Lung Cancer Awareness Month 2020. Welcome to our lung cancer community. And now, our host, Upstage Lung Cancer Board Member, Ben Glickman.
My name is Ben Glickman. I have served with Upstage Lung Cancer since spring 2018. As a longtime musician, it has been truly a privilege to honor the memory of my grandmother and others who have been taken from us by lung cancer through the lens and scope of music and performing arts. Hildy Grossman and other members of the board have opened their arms to me and allowed me to participate in some really amazing concerts and fundraising events. They even let me host a series of concerts at my alma mater, Colgate University. I'm pleased today to serve as a moderator on tonight's talkback to meet some of our performers, medical collaborators, and advocates for this important cause. I will now pass the mic to fellow board member Anna Muse to introduce our panelists for the evening.
Hi everyone, as Ben said, my name is Anna and I've been working with Upstage Lung Cancer since 2018 as well. And it's truly been a pleasure working with Hildy and the rest of the board and all of our supporters. And I'm so happy you guys are here for this exciting opportunity to speak with the panelists. And that said, I will now introduce everyone. Feel free to give a wave, each of you, when I say your name. So we have Francine Jacobson, MD and MPH from Brigham and Women's Hospital and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Chris Draft, a former NFL player and lung cancer patient advocate. Brian De Lorenzo, one of our dearest performers. Joyce Gilhaywick, MC and ardent ULC supporter. Linnea Olson, our Fan Award recipient for tonight and a 13-year lung cancer survivor and patient advocate. And then last but of course not least, Hildy Grossman, our founder and president. Cheers to her. So with those introductions complete, I would like to open the floor to questions, and you can type those in the Q&A box.
So while we let the Q&A box populate, Anna and I would like to start off with a question that we already wrote. Everyone here on the panel comes from different backgrounds and has connected with our group in different ways. We'd like to ask each of you how you got involved in Upstage Lung Cancer.
I get to start. Oh, Hildy. It goes back for me to the Women's Lung Cancer Forum that Yolanda Colson and I co-founded in 2004. And it was amazing that Hildy walked in the door as one of the patients. And this is advocacy is just starting because we were starting to have more people survive lung cancer so that we could have advocacy start. And she had this idea of using her voice as a jazz singer, which actually for the function of lungs, I hate to say it, at the time it didn't occur to me how personal it was to me. Before I ever went to medical school, I was a professional flutist. I should understand the value of using your lungs to produce music. And it has been a wonderful, wonderful privilege and honor to watch how successful Hildy has grown this organization. It is truly a unique fundraising organization of using the voice for lung cancer. And I am over the moon that in the first 10 years, she broke $3 million doing it. It's such an honor to be here tonight. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank Francine, who's she and Joyce in our moments of our fall concert are like such a cute duo. I love them together. But one of my memories, Francine, was we did a house concert once and we wrote new lyrics to the Virginia Slims commercial. Do you remember that? You've come a long way, baby, or whatever.
I do, and we said we were going to write a song collaboratively. You know,
Yeah.
This Zoom could give rise after the formal presentation. I bet Chris could give us some word associations that would play off with our young people. And Hildy will sing them as we create.
Well,
Brian
I
and
was
I
just thinking.
What? I'm sorry.
I heard you say a house concert, and I was thinking DJ anyway. So yeah, I got some lyrics for you. Oh, is it going to be a house party? Is that what it was?
It was, we've done a bunch of house concerts, which have been really wonderful. I have magnificent cousins in New York that I think are watching tonight, the Sloans. Hi, everybody. And we've done a couple of house concerts there, and they've brought their friends in, and we've had a band, and it's just been, the house concert format's been really super. We've done them in this area and in Washington, DC and New York, and it's just it's a very good experience. So yeah, we'll have to plan. And well, who's going to a house? We'll have to be
But
outside.
you know, Zoom is the new house. This is almost like getting together with your family for Thanksgiving or for your next house party, so that you have a group of people, just like you choreograph those house parties. That's a terrific idea for us in this sort of gotta think outside the box year.
Yes.
I would love to volunteer my house. I would love to volunteer my house. I've done a lot of concerts here, actually. We donate the space, which we designed, really. My husband's an architect. We made it look like a theater in there, and it's got a stage and a baby grand piano and the whole bit. That would be, this is
All right, that's our next house concert.
yeah, and that's on tape now. You got me. So I'm trying to remember how actually I got started. I do remember, Hildy, you must have approached me.
I did. I accosted.
You accosted me. That's the verb I'm looking for. You accosted me. I have a big reputation in the Boston area as someone who's a cancer survivor. And so though I've never had lung cancer, I've had ovarian cancer, and I've had melanoma, which is a very aggressive skin cancer. I am a supporter of anybody who's fighting this disease in any way, shape, or form. And I'm a big booster of early detection for lung cancer, because this is the key for not just lung cancer, but any cancer. The earlier you detect this disease, the better the prognosis. It's probably the single biggest prognosticator of how a person is going to do. It's the reason I'm still here to even be part of Zoom. It's the reason I have lived to be 150 years old so far. It's the reason probably, Hildy is still here, early detection. I mean, however that happens, by accident. And for me, it was an accident that these things were detected at all. I was misdiagnosed. So I'm big on patient advocacy, speaking up for yourself, challenging your doctors, going after, the bottom line, running it by yourself to make sure you feel like you're getting the best advice possible and following all of that. So, and I'm an arts critic. So this was an incredible combination of arts and entertainment in support of a cause that has affected my life in the most fundamental way. So I'm thrilled. I don't know of another event like this. And I am in awe of your entrepreneurial skills, Hildy. Absolutely in awe of how you've taken this as a cause and made it a tangible charity with extraordinary, tangible, monetary results. So hats off to you. I've got to pick your brain more thoroughly about this. Yeah.
I think that Hildy and I met through the Boston Association of Cabaret Artists, probably, right?
Yeah.
Sometime in the 90s.
Yes, when we were in our 90s.
Well, we started that organization in 1995. So, sometime after 1995. And so, we're both of like minds. We love to sing the Great American Songbook and musical theater stuff. So Hildy invited me to participate in the very first concert 11 years ago. And I've been doing it ever since.
And he keeps trying to run away, but I won't let him go. Linnea, dear Linnea.
Hey, Hildy. I think I met you through our mutual friend, Diane Legg, who 16 years of surviving lung cancer. And at this point, I should mention that come April, it will actually be 16 for me as well. And thank you. Thank you. And I'm just so impressed that you continue to stay so engaged with this community when, frankly, it's something that you potentially could have walked away from, but you have not. And I am so grateful that you have used your talents to raise more money for lung cancer research. Next Monday, I start my 5th phase 1 clinical trial, and it's research that keeps me alive. So thank you. Thank you.
It's interesting what you said, Chris. I don't know if you found the same thing. I've noticed that for people whose lives have been touched by lung cancer, who've lost a relative or something, it kind of goes in two directions. It's a difficult disease, and so some people feel like they want to get really involved and do something. And other people have been, had such a tough time that they feel like I'm gone from this. So there's no right or wrong or good or bad. It's just, I think for all of us in challenging times. So we're talking about lung cancer, but we've got this pandemic now. And I think it's for all of us to figure out ways to make the most out of life, what we have, and to join with other people. What good is life if you don't, we'll break into, Brian, people who need people, or yeah, no. But no, I think, it's really important to feel connected. Right, Chris?
Yeah, that's so important, Hildy. I think what you're hitting on is this important message of the lung cancer community. We have to welcome people to our community. We have to make them feel like it's worth it to be a part of this community where they feel good about what they're doing. And I think that's what you've done with your tremendous support of your board and the people, the volunteers from Upstage Lung Cancer. You created an event that when you're a part of it, you feel good. I mean, if you listen to all the music, all the songs, if you don't feel good, there's something wrong with you, right? Right. And so we are fighting against this terrible disease, but that doesn't mean that we have to feel terrible when we're fighting against it. So I want to commend you and the rest of the group for making it uplifting. So not just upstaging lung cancer, uplifting the people as we're fighting against lung cancer. And then the other side is thank you for being authentic. Thank you for not looking too far to find out what you could do for lung cancer and just recognizing, hey, I can sing, right? And so when it comes to fundraising, the best place is the natural place. And so by tapping into your resources that you already knew, the people that you've already been in touch with, I know it made it easier, but it still is hard work. And so again, I want to thank you for your leadership and your commitment, but also to the people that are around you that lift you up and make sure that you aren't just carrying it all by yourself, because it is a heavy load. It is a lot of work. But again, you guys have accomplished so much, and just I'm glad to have received the fan award and to be able to be on this Zoom panel where I can be in Atlanta in the A and still be a part of this amazing program.
Absolutely. Chris, did you want to take a minute and discuss sort of how you started your organization and how it got connected with Upstage Lung Cancer?
They still want to hear me. Well, so my wife Keisha was diagnosed with lung cancer December of 2010. 37 years old, in amazing shape, and I say that when she was diagnosed, we found out the most important fact about lung cancer, that anyone can get it. To say that without having the perspective of somebody that having lung cancer, that almost seems crazy. It just doesn't even sound right based on the historical narrative with lung cancer. But we found that out, and we also found out the other, more important fact, and that is in most cases, our patients are diagnosed late. And so Keisha was diagnosed stage 4 lung cancer, which was confirmed January of 2011. And unlike Linnea, who is here, she was negative for ALK positive, a mutation that where there's a targeted match. She was negative for EGFR and ALK, so she was on standard chemotherapy, and unfortunately passed a year later. But before she passed, we were able to get married. And November 27, 2011, we made a commitment to each other and a commitment to the lung cancer community that was really inspired by my wife, where she asked if we couldn't, she said, what if we don't get presents? What if we ask our family and friends to support the Chris Draft Family Foundation, where we can create a lung cancer initiative? And that's where our Team Draft initiative came from, with a mission to change the face of lung cancer. And it really comes directly from my wife's commitment to the lung cancer community. And just like I said with Hildy, it takes a team. So my wife's commitment really just activated the team around her. And so as a leader, she activated that. And so when she passed, the commitment of changing the face of lung cancer was about finding the leaders in our community, understanding exactly what they do, so we can appreciate it and magnify it, using my platform as an NFL player. And then again, at the same time, really appreciating them. So how did I find Hildy? Is I went out all over the country to find our leaders and find people that were making a difference, that were committed to just changing the face of lung cancer, that weren't going to sit back and say, well, people don't care. They don't care. They are, Hildy, you guys all know Hildy. Hildy is not going to sit back. She is up in front of you. She's in your face, and she's saying, I'm going to make sure you know about lung cancer. And again, those are the type of people that I want to look for, because those are the game changers, like Linnea, the activist, this amazing woman, her presence that just shines. You guys saw it, right? People like that when they ask me, do you know, how do you know things are changing? I know they're changing because of all the people I've met. How do you know we're moving in the right direction? The same thing. We have got some amazing people with tremendous skills that are leading the way and making things happen.
Thank you so much, Chris. That's a great answer, and really important to hear your story and how it fits in with this whole story that we're all part of. I wanted to then shift towards a question that my mother asked, actually. Hi, Mom. And she asked, though our research is so focused on early detection, she asked about what are some of the strides that we know about this, both Francine as a physician and also those who are patient advocates, strides that have been made in the treatment of lung cancer in recent days, and what lies ahead both with treatment and detection.
Wow, the sky is the limit. And I think you've already heard very nicely how the range between standard chemotherapy and the journey in the cancer community to targeted therapies and understanding the disease well enough. It's not, I'm a diagnostic radiologist. I read the CAT scans, and I've been very involved in screening for lung cancer and finding it early for more than 20 years. But the issue really is, I want the $2 urine test. And I was so pleased this evening because I felt redeemed. It won't be $2, but it's because $2 isn't worth anything anymore. But the idea that you could have a simple urine test to know that you have some kind of early kind of stage of a disease that's lurking in your body. I will still be needed to find it because it might need treatment that is local. But even more important to me, I would love to be able to, and it will eventually happen, to find people who have a particular kind of disease that could be stopped even before we can localize it. And I'm going to actually take a page out of the COVID book for this. I didn't know I was going to do this tonight, but it makes total sense to take this idea that we're looking at how this disease is and we need to stop it. It's not like we want to stop it knowing what it is. And if there were such a thing, Chris, I think you're trying to give me the signals from the sideline, which I love, although I'll probably lose my total train of thought. I used to call it the elixir of for lung cancer that would then make it so that the cells would self-destruct before they had enough population to be found. And it's true for other kinds of cancer too. One of the things that I think as the world is becoming smaller and we're watching scientists work together over COVID more, we're also going to learn more of the crossovers in the techniques and the concepts. And the dream of it's actually a Biden dream. When he lost his son, Beau, he wanted to have the equivalent of what I remember from my youth in the 60s. It's very vivid when John F. Kennedy said, we are going to put someone on the moon in this decade. We do these things not because they're easy, but because they are hard. And ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for the cause. This is a little translation into Biden terms, for our cure cancer. And I'll actually tell you this story that I didn't know till yesterday. We have a cohort study that's been running for 15 years. It's the equivalent of Framingham Heart, where you look at people over a very long period of time, and eventually we'll look at their descendants. And it's for the genetics underlying COPD, which is the 4th leading cause of death in the United States and causes a lot of morbidity. Before you had to have a mask on your face, you'd realize in the grocery store, you were seeing people with oxygen concentrators with a lot of morbidity for many years. And the risk factors for lung cancer of having all kinds of chronic lung disease, not just emphysema, caused us to have to pause because we couldn't bring patients into the hospital for their every 5-year visit. We started thinking, well, wait a minute, what are we going to do? And the next thing we realized, wait a minute, we have to study what the effect of COVID is on people who have these groups of diseases that we've been working on the genetics of. And when you think about it, why one person gets a disease and another doesn't, we've known for many years, a lot of that is because of viruses. The idea that a virus can promote a tumor. We have tumor-associated tumors for squamous cell carcinoma in the oropharynx and different parts of the body that are HPV associated. So that's a promoter where it's doing it. We also know that there are probably viruses that are protective. And maybe that's an easier thing to explain by saying malaria is protected if you have a sickle cell trait. Having a little of something sometimes is protective. But when you end up with too much of it, it becomes its own problem. But understanding how those natural processes interface, there may be, this is pie in the sky, but if it happened, maybe I could get somebody to give Hildy another $3 million. Because what would happen if the COVID vaccine had an effect that caused the incidence of lung cancer to go down?
I think the point, if I wrap up, Francine, is to Mrs. Glickman. Mrs. Glickman, I wish my friend Upal was on this, and maybe he is. He could tell you that in the last 10 years, there's been an enormous number of new drugs that have hit the market for lung cancer. I don't want to give you a number because it'll be wrong, but like much more than the many, many years before that. So mostly it's in the world of immunotherapy, where your own immune system helps to fight off the lung cancer, or a targeted therapy where you have a certain kind of mutation, your tumor has a certain mutation. And so there are a bunch of drugs now that can target various mutations. But then it's, as Francine said, then it's almost like science fiction. There are things.
You did a great job, Hildy, explaining the science of that in a way that I really like. And when you listen to the drugs being reviewed now for COVID, they also end in this lovely little mab. And anybody who follows Colbert this week, he struggled with saying the name for the one that's equivalent to what our president, Mr. Trump, received when he got his COVID escapade. But the point being that they end in this ab, they are immune modulators. We use them for immune diseases, we're using them for cancer, but they have to be the right one. And before they become a mab, they have numbers. And I actually, Linnea probably knows more than anyone in this group how the numbers and before they have a name, because that's how the science is performed. And the numbers have gone up. I don't keep track of them, you're right. And our medical oncologist who is sometimes with us is not here tonight. Hildy has done another excellent job filling in for a specialist.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask Linnea, there was on your website, you discussed how you learned to live with the disease as a manageable chronic condition. Those are the words you used. What was involved personally in that learning process?
Frankly, a lot of time. And that's not a gift that everyone has, because when I was first diagnosed with lung cancer, I was 45 and very, very angry at first. I just couldn't believe this had happened to me. And at a certain point in time, I decided to stop thinking about the why and instead think about the what, as in what could I do? And just a short time ago, I wrote a blog about cranky about chronic, because chronic is not such a great word either. But at the same time, it beats the alternative. And in 2005, when I was diagnosed, I was told by my original oncologist that there were 3 treatment options. And he essentially said 3 strikes and you're out. And by 2008, I was out and told that I had 3 to 5 months left to live. So I prepared myself. And then 3 months into that 3 to 5 months, it was discovered I was positive for an ALK mutation. And I was offered a spot in a phase 1 trial for an ALK inhibitor. And here I am, still alive. I mean, it's not what I expected. And on Monday, I will start my 5th first in human trial. And I look at each of these trials as a stepping stone where I try it. I just need to stay alive long enough for the next one. And I fully expect that soon I will be in my 6th first in human trial.
I want to add on to something you just said, Linnea, and that was the tremendous shift you made from being cranky about the disease or angry or resentful to focusing on survival and the what. And I always say this to people when I speak, which is, we don't know why any of us get these diseases. We have no idea. I mean, I don't know what your genetic background is or your familial history is with that disease, but I know any of the cancers I got, there was no history of this in my family. I fell outside of the statistical norms each time. So I just had to accept that, hey, this is what I got. I'm going to play the heck out of this hand and fight as hard as I could. And this is a message for anybody who wants to stay around. I believe no doctor can tell you how much time you have or you don't have. If you do everything you can in your power, I mean, there's some things that obviously fall outside of our power, but we fight as hard as we can. And if you stay around long enough with every treatment you can, there may be some new drug, some new treatment, some new therapy to get you through to the next step. And that's where you are. And beyond that, we can't do. But nobody really knows. And everybody is unique. And no one is a statistic. So, I mean, you and I fell outside. I mean, we are tremendously lucky. And my heart breaks for you, Chris, that you lost your wife so soon and so young. No one knows how, but wow, the way you're carrying on is extraordinary. And that's all I can add to this. There are a variety of outcomes here. We're all just giving it the best shot we can.
Thank you, Joyce and Linnea. I think you both really provide a perspective of bringing the humanity to the illness and making it really personal, but also showing that grit and that toughness that's helped countless patients after you, which is so beautiful. Thank you for that. And there was a follow-up question to this last question. Um, Someone asked, explain how influential mental health is in regards to receiving diagnoses, treatments, and healing, and how advocates can help with that factor of the disease.
I'll say something in my other life as a psychologist. Well, we all know that there's a very strong relationship between depression and a sense of well-being. And it's a little bit of chicken and egg phenomenon, you know, like does depression cause disease to advance more rapidly than if you were not depressed? You know, there's some suggestion that, you know, that can play a role. On the other hand, when you are handed, you know, as Linnea was, you're handed a terminal diagnosis and someone says you have 3 months, it would not be unusual to feel depressed, or over all the years that you keep fighting it, to have ups and downs with depression. So I think in all, for life in general, whether it's the pandemic or, you know, having cancer, having tools to cope with you know, with difficulties can only enhance your life. Whether it will extend it, we don't know, but it certainly will add a quality to your life. So it's you know, I always say just find one thing in a day, one thing. So I got to see all your great faces, and I know there are a lot of people out there that have joined us tonight. I'm so grateful that so many people tuned into our concert and into our Zoom. And so that if nothing else happened during the day, that has brought me great joy. And so I think as far as mental health goes, it doesn't just happen, although some people are more prone to depression than others, but I think it's something you have to actively work on every day. I just wanted to say one thing. I got this great email from someone who said, you know, November is Lung Cancer Awareness Month, which it is. And she said, I was looking on the internet, and she said, I was looking for something that was going to be fun and inspirational. And I found you in this concert.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, is that so great? You know, so I think if that's what we were able to do tonight, give you some fun, giving you an escape, you know, from the difficult things going on and challenges that face all of us. If we gave you some fun, that was great. And I know I'm inspired by all of you because of your dedication, because of your persistence and perseverance. And my last quote is, I was listening to Madeleine Albright, and this newscaster said to her, so what do you see yourself? Are you an optimist or are you a pessimist? And she said, well, I consider myself an optimist, but I worry. I thought, that's perfect. So I know that's who I am. You know, I'm optimistic, but I worry. So anyway, I just thought I'd put that in there as far as mental health goes.
There is a question that came in about, in general, many people are involved also in patient advocacy, and what can those who aren't involved, the general public, do to support patient advocates and survivors?
Chris.
Well, the fact that you guys are here, you're already doing that. Showing up and making sure that Hildy and the work of upstage lung cancer, you know, that's appreciated. If you shared it on your Facebook, if you shared the links with your people, that's lung cancer awareness. You know, being at this event and donating, you guys know that money is going to go towards early detection. I think the biggest thing is just recognizing that there are different levels of being an advocate. In the breast cancer world, you know, wearing pink socks is enough at times. And so I think, you know, the key that we have to recognize is not everybody is going to be the leader of an organization. Not everybody is going to be an advocate that is doing TED Talks like Linnea Olson, but everybody has their place. And so I'll tell you guys this, is there's a bandwagon if you want to jump on and be a lung cancer advocate. It's big enough for all of you. So if you want to do more, there's plenty of space. There's plenty of jobs to do, but we'll take whatever you got. Because again, lung cancer awareness is not about one particular area. We believe if anyone can get lung cancer, then that's anyone. And that means that wherever you are in this country, really wherever you are in the world, but wherever you are in this country, making sure that you're aware, making sure that you have knowledge just gives you a better chance to be able to fight against it. And also at the same time, that allows you to put pressure on your community to be able to do more in certain areas to get things done. And so I guess, again, all I have to say is that small, big, whatever you're willing to give, hey, thank you.
I have a question for Brian and for Joyce. And that goes back to both our fun and inspiration. And of all the 12 years, are there any particular memories? And I know we've got some of our wonderful cast on the Zoom call. Love you all so much. Anyway, I'm wondering if the two of you have any particular memories that were that stayed with you, either in performing or anything at all. Paula Markowitz, you dear wonderful person, is on. Hello, Paula. Anyway, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I wonder if you have any particular memories.
It's actually, for me, it's almost the opposite because we work so hard to put these shows together, you know, and trying to memorize all the lyrics and the moves and everything. And then we only get to do it one night. So it doesn't stay with me. Something, you know, as a performer who does theater, you know, 6 or 8 times a week, it becomes a part of you. But it's almost like watching some of these videos. It's funny because I almost think I don't even remember doing that.
Oh well.
Well, I have fun doing it.
It's great. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I think nobody has a clue. And maybe that's one of the memories. Nobody has a clue how hard we work. We put in so much effort. It could be a Broadway show that could stay for 2 years, but there it is. One night, isn't there some like a lightning bug or something that lasts just mates and then it's gone? We didn't mate, but but we did create something really wonderful together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember a very it's kind of a semi-embarrassing memory, but it's was on stage and Jerry Remy was our guest of honor, and
first year,
yeah, and lung cancer survivor, and
oh wait, can I interrupt you? For those who don't know who Jerry Remy is, he's the Red Sox announcer who had lung cancer and came out, and he was our first year, and we gave him an award for speaking out about lung cancer. All right, carry on.
Right. Well, we were also doing an auction, and we were auctioning off some Jerry Remy's memorabilia, and there was a baseball signed by him, and I remember it led to my making some comment about not wanting to take my hands off Jerry Remy's balls, and it was like it was 2 baseballs we were auctioning off. And I think Jerry Remy nearly like fainted in the audience, but they got this huge laugh, which I was not planning. But there you go. All these years later, that stays with me.
Not surprising.
That's an amazing memory. Wow.
There's something that stays with us from concert to concert, year to year, whether it's the spring concert, a home concert, the big fall fundraiser, and it's very special the audience that keeps coming back, as well as how the audience over time is growing. And one of the things I think is a challenge for us this year is to find ways to grow that audience so that it will be bigger on the other side of COVID. And I think jokes like you just told are perfect, because the idea of raising fun as part of fundraising is really one of the keys to success. And that's probably why every one of us will do almost anything that Hildy asks us to do,
You're
because
so
we have fun with her.
well, and I think this is one of the benefits of doing a virtual concert is that we're able to reach out across the country. I know there are people from California and Chicago and New York that have watched the concert tonight and hopefully are on the Zoom call. So that's really a wonderful thing, and they've learned about Chris's organization, and yeah, it's great. This is a terrible thing now that you brought that one up, Joyce. I remember, so I write the scripts and then I turn it over to Joyce, who's always our amazing MC. And so I remember one year, I and she always puts her own pen to things. She'll tweak it the way she wants to make it and all this. So one year I'm sitting there and writing, and I thought to myself, we supported an early detection research project that used saliva. And so they were looking to identify biochemicals in the saliva, markers in the saliva that would detect the presence of lung cancer early. So I wrote something about that in the script for her. And then I said, just imagine if all you have to do is spit in a cup and you'll find out if you have lung cancer. She says, I'm not going to say spit in a cup. So I figured Jerry Remy's balls are okay, but not spit in a cup. So anyway.
That was unplanned on my part.
This is so funny. I do have to say that we have time for one more question, and we have an excellent question from Michael Hammond, who's been really active in the chat box. Michael, thank you for that. Michael asked a question for Hildy, but I think it actually is applicable to everyone. He asked, what do you feel is the greatest accomplishment as a result of upstage lung cancer? What are you most proud of? And for those outside of upstage lung cancer with your own foundations and work, I guess people could briefly go over what is your most proud moment in your work with lung cancer advocacy.
First of all, I'm proud to have Michael Hammond as a friend, and he's a performer. He was in the Disney tune, and he's been director, and he's just an incredibly wonderful human being and very funny. I would say for myself, it's kind of two things. It's back to this woman that really touched me when she said fun and inspiration. When I started this organization, I turned to my friend Crispin Weinberg, and I said, well, I'm going to tell you something, and then when I finish, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to say yes. So I said I was diagnosed with lung cancer, found it by accident very early. I was really lucky. I had surgery, and it looks like I'm going to be fine. We'll see, year at a time. But and I want to start an organization, and I want to use music. And so now I'm going to ask you to make this happen with me. So he'd already committed himself to say yes. And he said yes. So one of the things he said, yeah, let's do this, but let's make sure it's always fun. Now, lung cancer is not fun, so it probably sounds like a weird thing to say. But in fact, things happen to you in your life and you ponder them. And I have to say, I'm grateful that I had lung cancer, that I was lucky and it was early, and I was treated early. But I'm lucky because as a result of it, I have all of you, my community, so many people that I love to the core of my heart. I feel so much gratitude. Just talented, lovely, generous people. that we've chosen very specifically to work on early detection. That's what saved my life. Just tripping over a pair of shoes, happened to, it's on our website. It's too long to go into. You'll be getting a cup of tea at midnight. But you know, so I feel like that's where you have to look broader. And I think, knowing Linnea and watching her, she is like complete inspiration to me about how to live with hardships. And Chris, losing his young wife, that's just, it shouldn't happen. That's not the way things are supposed to happen. And and everyone here, Joyce, amazing year after year. Brian, such a partner. I watched us sing, and even though you can't remember it, I watched the love between us. So I'm just telling you, I watched the love. There is love between us. I know your husband is going to be okay with my saying it. But there's love. So that's what I'm most proud of. That our inspiration is to fight this disease, find it early where it can be treated most easily, and to have fun. That is to celebrate life. So it's a long-winded answer, but that's my answer.
Thank you, Hildy. Anyone else like to contribute?
What's to say?
Yeah, I do want to say one little thing, and it was something you said something about, like, you were, I don't know how you put it exactly, that you felt lucky to have had cancer, or that it was like sometimes I will say it was a gift to me. And
Yes.
It was a gift because somehow, I mean, listen, nobody gets out of here alive, all right? To be reminded in the middle of your life or at the beginning of your life about how fragile it is, and then to be around to appreciate that is a gift. It has changed my whole perspective. And it's not like I live at that edge every single day, because you can't. I still worry about, like, oh God, I'm having a bad hair day or whatever. But when I get too far off the track, or something pulls me back, and I go, hey, you know what? Shut up, because you could be lying in a bed somewhere counting the hours, and you're not. This is a gift. It's all very fragile. We got to make the most of this, and we're all in this thing together.
Right.
That's the thing, and we're all going to pull each other through. That's the gift of this. It's changed my life for the better. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you all. I am very inspired by everything. All of it. Two important thoughts to leave you with. Anyone can get lung cancer, and research matters. Please donate now to help us continue our work. Just go to upstagelungcancer.org and click donate. Thank you. Stay well and safe.